Dear comrades and friends, our All India Postal and RMS Pensioners Association Central Headquarters has been conducting various classes on important subjects through our important leaders as well as through YouTube channel. You might have seen many of the episodes that have been telecast on YouTube channel. Today, I am going to discuss about the Right to Information Act because it is more relevant in today's life. Every citizen, every pensioner and every pensioner organization have to know the basics of Right to Information Act so that they can take up the issues of pensioners and pensioners organizations. What is Right to Information Act? When did it come? The Right to Information Act was enacted on 2/6/2005 when Manmohan Singh government was at the center. It lacked the majority, so it needed the support of left parties. The left parties have demanded that two important acts should be enacted. One is the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act and another one is Right to Information Act. Because there is lot of corruption at the center before the enactment of the law. We might have seen the case of Bofors, how it swindled the government money. So there was huge cry and protest all over the country from citizens that Right to Information Act should be enacted. So to promote transparency and accountability, this act is needed. Article 19A of the Constitution of India ensures freedom of speech and expression. That includes right to information also. The Honorable Supreme Court of India has also held that Article 19A implies that it includes right to information also. As per the Right to Information Act, what is information? The information includes records, documents, memo, email, press release, circulars or orders and so on. It is unlimited. Everything that is with the government is called information. Even data material in electronic form is also information. The public authority has to give the information when citizen seeks it. Who are the public authority? Bodies owned and controlled by the central government, state government, are called public authority. Even non-governmental organizations partly funded by central or state government are also called public authority. Public authority nominates the persons who have to deal with right to information. Who are they? The public authority has to appoint public information officer, assistant public information officer and first appellate authority. As far as state government is concerned, the concerned departments have to appoint state public information officer, state assistant public information officer, first appellate authority. As far as central government departments are concerned, the public information officer is called Central Public Information Officer, Central Assistant Public Information Officer, and First Appellate Authority. These three information officers and the appellate authority are being appointed by the concerned departments and ministries. Whereas the second appellate authority, the last and final appellate authority is Central Information Commission as far as applications relating to central government. As far as application, RTA applications relating to state government, the second appellate authority is State Information Commission. So, the public authority has to appoint CPIO as far as central government is concerned, ACPIO and first appellate authority. What are the duties of these authorities? For the Central Public Information Officer, he has to receive the application under RTA from the citizen and dispose it and give the sufficient required information to the applicant. Assistant Central Public Information Officer means he is subordinate to CPIO. His duty is only to receive the application from the citizen and forward it to the concerned CPIO by registering it at the office. The ACPIO has no power to give the information. He is only the forwarding authority of the application. First appellate authority means he is vested with the power of appeal preferred by the appellant against the order of the CPIO. The second appellate authority is Central Information Commission. Central Information Commission has one Chief Central Information Commissioner and other 10 or Central Information Commissioners are also there in the Central Information Commission. Then now, how to file an RTA application? First, we have to identify the Central Public Information Officer. If you go through the Central Government Department websites, there will be column RTA. From that, you can choose the public information of the concerned department at the level you are seeking information. At the same time, there will also be first appellate authority mentioned in the RTA column. So, the RTA application can be made on a plain paper. There is no fixed format. You can prepare the application on a plain paper. It should contain the following information: your name, address, mobile number and email ID. It should be addressed to the designated authority. For example, in case of a postal division, Superintendent of Post Offices or Senior Superintendent of Post Offices. Within bracket, you have to mention Central Public Information Officer. After which, you have to write, kindly supply the following information. You need not go to any RTA sections. You can simply ask, kindly supply the following information 1, 2, 3 or 4. Any number of questions, any number of informations can be sought from the Public Information Officer. There is no restrictions at all. You can ask the details of the beneficiaries who were granted counting of induction training, the details of the beneficiaries who have been granted benefit under the 30-50 higher postman scale. Like that, you can seek number of information from the Public Information Officer. But at the same time, you have to pay 10 rupees for the information you are seeking. That should be paid either by demand draft or by check or by Indian postal order or through UCR receipt. You can get it. You have to get that. You have to pay that fee through this DD check, IPO or UCR receipt. You have to attach the receipt along with the application form. At the end of your application also, you have to mention that a DD or IPO or UCR receipt for rupees 10 bearing number so and so, dated so and so, is being attached herewith for supply of the required information. As far as those citizens, those categories of people who belong to below poverty line, there is no RTA fee at all. For them, it is free. They need not pay any fee at all. Similarly, we can submit the RTA application through online also. there is provision in it. You have to open the rtionline.gov.in website. You have to log in using your username and password, and you have to give the submit request. At the left hand top there will be a column submit request. After clicking it, the page of application will open. You have to fill all the columns. Some columns are mandatorily to be filled up, some columns are need not be filled up, but on the whole most of the columns have to be filled up, after which there will be a box. In the box you have to write the information you are seeking. Kindly supply the following information as you have done it on the plain paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After that you have to submit your request. After giving submission, the payment screen will open. In that you have to pay the RTA fee of 10 rupees through net banking, Visa card, debit card or credit card. After paying that amount, an OTP number will be displayed on the screen. That number has to be inserted in the relevant box, after which your application will be registered and your application number will be displayed on the screen. You have to note it down, as well as you can take the print of the copy of the application number also. After that, after you filing the application, what the Central Public Information Officer has to do, he has to reply to you, he has to give the relevant information within 30 days of the receipt of your application. In case of emergency, like life and the cases relating to the information relating to life and liberty, the Central Public Information Officer has to give reply within 48 hours. The reply will be given by the CPIO by post. In case you applied through online, the reply will be given through the online also. In addition, sometimes you might have asked for copies of the government orders or department orders. The Central Public Information Officer has to provide it. In that case, he will ask you to credit an amount of ₹2 per page for the information for the copies sought. So, for that also, you have to pay 2 rupees or 4 rupees as per the according to the pages of the information you want through DD, check or IPO or UCRC. In case of online, you have to pay it through online also. For information to be received in floppy or diskette, you have to pay 50 rupees per floppy. In case you have got reply within 30 days of the sending of the application, or if there is no reply from the CPIO after 30 days of your application, or if you are not satisfied with the reply given by the information given by the Public Information Officer, then you can go in for a first appeal. There is no fee for first appeal as well as for second appeal. Only at the time of initial application, you have to pay 10 rupees as RTA fee. So, after 30 days, you can appeal against the order of the CPIO. Who is the first appellate authority? In the reply given by the Public Information Officer itself, at the end of the letter, at the end of the information, it will be mentioned that if you are not satisfied with the information given above, you can approach so and so, the first appellate authority. So, in case you are not satisfied with the reply given by the Public Information Officer, you can make an appeal to the first appellate authority given in the reply by CPIO. In some cases, the name of the first appellate authority may not have been given by the Public Information Officer. In that case, you have to search the concerned department website to ascertain who is the first appellate authority to whom you have to make the appeal. What to do in case of filing an appeal. Like in the case of application with the public information officer, you have to write your name and address to the concerned first appellate authority. In the subject column, you have to mention that appeal against the order of the CPIO. You have to tell in what way you are not satisfied with the reply given by the public information officer. You have to point it out 1, 2 or 3. In case the public information officer has not given any reply, has neglected your application, that should also be mentioned in the appeal form. So there is no, as I already said, there is no fee for appeal, first appeal as well as second appeal. So the first appellate authority has to decide the case within 30 days of your application, or in exceptional circumstances he can give the reply within 45 days. That should be recorded in writing. So you will get reply from the first appellate authority within 30 days of your first appeal or 45 days of your appeal. In case you get a reply from the first appellate authority, or you do not get any reply from the first appellate authority, but you are not satisfied with the reply given by the appellate authority, then you have to choose the next path, namely second appeal against the order of the first appellate authority. So you can make the second appeal within 90 days of your preferring the first appeal, or from the reply given by the first appellate authority. So you have to make the second appeal within 90 days from the date of your first appeal, or from the reply given by the first appellate authority. Your second appeal should be placed before the Central Information Commission. Central Information Commission office is headquartered at New Delhi. So you have to make the second appeal to them only. In your application, in your second appeal, you have to mention that the name and address of the Central Public Information Officer, the name and address of the first appellate authority, particulars about the application, brief of your case, and the relief and prayer you seek before the Central Information Commission, namely the second appellate authority. You have to attach all the documents with your application, namely your application, first application to the Central Public Information Officer, the reply given by him, your first appeal to the first appellate authority, and the reply given by him. In what way you are not satisfied with the reply given by them, you have to narrate it very elaborately, so that the Central Information Commission may come to an understanding of the issue you face. All documents should be attached with the your second appeal. Similarly, in addition to the second appeal, you can also make a complaint with the Central Information Commission directly also. In case the Central Public Information Officer to whom you sent the your first letter has not acted fairly, he has acted biased, he has given incorrect information, his informations are malafide. If you think so, you can also lodge a complaint with the Central Information Commission. So Central Information Commission is competent to discuss, competent to inquire about take decision on your second appeal as well as complaint. So you have to elaborately deal with the second appeal with all information to the knowledge of Central Information Commission. Similarly, you can also send your second appeal. You can send it by post as well as through online. The online platform for Central Information Commission is cic.gov.in. If you open that website, there will be a screen. In that, an appeal and complaint box will be there. You have to click it and you have to fill all the columns in the page and then submit. Your complaint as well as second appeal will stand registered. Finally, the order given by the Central Information Commission is binding on the applicant as well as the Central Public Information Officer and the First Appellate Authority. It is final and binding. There is no further appeal for applicant. Similarly, the Central Information Commission feels that, and if it is of the opinion that the Public Information Officer has deliberately withheld some information, has given some wrong information, or he has not provided any information, it may impose penalty to the Public Information Officer at the rate of 250 rupees per day till the correct information is provided by the Public Information Officer. So at the maximum, the Central Information Commission may impose a penalty of not more than 25,000 rupees to the Public Information Officer. In addition to that, the Central Public Information Commission is of the opinion and feels that reply given by the Public Information Officer or by the First Appellate Authority is not sufficient, and they have acted unfairly, they have acted biased. It can recommend to the public authority disciplinary action against the Central Public Information Officer as well as the First Appellate Authority for giving wrong information, for treating the application in a biased manner. Even though the disciplinary action might have been recommended against the CPIO as well as against the First Appellate Authority, the CPIO and First Appellate Authority can go to the High Court through a writ petition for reversing the order of the Central Information Commission. So, comrades, we have dealt with how to apply, how to prepare an RTA application. Similarly, we also dealt with how to prepare the first appeal and to whom the first appeal has to be preferred. Similarly, how to lodge a complaint with the Central Information Commission, as well as how to place our second appeal to the Central Information Commission. Some of us might have been familiar with the RTA provisions also. This episode will definitely help those who want to know the important aspects of the Right to Information Act will definitely be benefited by this episode. By experience also, you will be familiar with the RTA provisions and you can be helpful to others also. Finally, comrades, the Right to Information Act is a boon to every citizen of the country. It is the best tool in the hands of the citizens, pensioners, as well as pensioners' organizations to deal with the issues pertaining to the citizens as well as pensioners. We can make use of the RTA provisions to the advantage of pensioners and pensioners' organizations also, because normally when we correspond with the administration will not reply to the pensioners' organization. So they will treat the letter as ordinary one. They will not reply to us. RTA is the best opportunity available to us through which we can seek the status of the correspondence we had with the administration. From that, we can pursue the case to the next level. So, definitely the Right to Information Act is helpful to not only to the citizens of India, but to the pensioners as well as to the pensioners organization. It will help to redress the grievances of the pensioners. So accordingly, let us use the RTA Act effectively and intelligently for the benefit of the pensioners and pensioners organization. With this, I conclude my speech. Thank you, comrades.